What if you woke up tomorrow to the biggest news in human history? Not a war, not an election, not a natural disaster. Something bigger, something that changes everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. A message. From space, not random noise, not a glitch, not a pulsar or a satellite reflection. An unmistakable artificial signal. A repeating mathematical pattern that could only come from one source. Intelligence. Non-human intelligence. From Proxima Centauri, the nearest star to our sun, just 4.2 light-years away. What happens next? This is a hypothetical scenario, but the protocols we're about to explore are real. SETI has spent decades preparing for this moment. Scientists have written frameworks for exactly this situation. And one day, this could actually happen. Today, we're walking through a realistic, minute-by-minute scenario of what would actually happen if humanity received its first confirmed alien signal. The first 24 hours after we receive a message from space. And what we do next could determine the future of our species. Let's set the scene. It's 3:47 a.m. at the Very Large Array in New Mexico. Most of the world is asleep. A graduate student named Sarah Chen is monitoring a routine survey of nearby star systems. It's a job she's done hundreds of times. Most nights, nothing happens. Just cosmic static. Background noise of the universe. But tonight is different. At 3:47 a.m. and 22 seconds, the system flags an anomaly, a signal from the direction of Proxima Centauri, strong, clear, and repeating in a pattern that makes Sarah's heart stop. Prime numbers 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, over and over again. Prime numbers don't occur naturally in radio waves. They're the universal calling card of intelligence. A mathematical sequence that any advanced civilization would recognize as deliberate. Sarah's first instinct is disbelief. It must be an error. Equipment malfunction. Terrestrial interference. Maybe a satellite reflection. She runs the standard checks. The signal persists. She checks again. Still there. At 4:12 a.m., she makes the call that will change history. She wakes up her supervisor. Now begins the most critical phase, verification. SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, has spent decades preparing for this moment. They have a protocol, a checklist, a system designed to separate genuine signals from the hundreds of false alarms that occur every year. The protocol is called the Rio Scale. A framework for assessing the credibility and significance of a potential alien signal. And the first step is simple but essential. Make sure it's not us. By 5 a.m., the control room is full. The senior astronomer has arrived. They're running every test they can think of. Is it a known satellite? They check the databases. No matches? Is it terrestrial interference? They point the array at a different part of the sky. The signal disappears. They point it back at Proxima Centauri. It returns. Is it a reflection of our own signals? The frequency doesn't match anything Earth has transmitted. Is the equipment malfunctioning? They switch to backup systems. The signal is still there. At 6:30 a.m., they take the next step in the protocol, independent confirmation. They contact other observatories around the world, colleagues in Australia, Europe, South Africa. They ask them to point their instruments at Proxima Centauri and report what they find. If only one telescope can detect the signal, it's probably equipment error. If multiple independent observatories detect the same signal, then it's real. By 8 a.m., the first confirmation comes in from the Parkes Observatory in Australia. They see it too. Same frequency, same pattern, same prime number sequence. By 9 a.m., 3 more observatories have confirmed. At this point, the scientific team faces an impossible decision. Do they tell the world? Here's where things get complicated. There's no global government, no single authority that speaks for Earth, no official, First Contact Department, SETI, has guidelines, something called the Declaration of Principles for Activities Following the Detection of Extraterrestrial Intelligence. It was written in 1989 and updated since. But here's the key point. It's voluntary. It has no legal force. It's a recommendation, not a law. The declaration suggests several steps. First, the discoverers should verify the signal through independent observation. They've done that. Second, they should notify relevant national authorities. This is where it gets tricky. Which authorities? The scientists are American, but SETI is an international effort. Do they call the White House, the United Nations, NASA? All of the above. And what happens when they do? By 10 a.m., the decision is made. The team contacts NASA, which immediately escalates to the White House Science Office. Simultaneously, they notify the International Academy of Astronautics and key partners at ESA, the European Space Agency. Within an hour, a secure video conference is underway involving scientists, government officials, and intelligence agencies from 5 countries. And here's where the arguments begin. The scientists want to go public immediately. This is the biggest discovery in human history. The world has a right to know. Secrecy is impossible anyway. Too many people are already involved. Some government officials agree, but others raise concerns. What if the public panics? What about economic markets? Will they crash? What about religious implications? What if hostile nations try to respond on their own? And the biggest question of all, should we respond to the signal? And if so, who decides what we say? While governments debate, something inevitable happens. Someone leaks. Maybe it's a junior scientist who texts a friend. Maybe it's an observatory technician who posts on social media. Maybe it's a government staffer who calls a journalist. It doesn't matter who. What matters is that by noon, the secret is out. At 12:17 p.m., a tweet goes viral. My cousin works at VLA. They detected an alien signal last night. This is not a drill. Within minutes, journalists are calling the observatory. News vans are racing toward New Mexico. The story is spreading faster than anyone can control. By 1 p.m., it's the top trending topic worldwide. By 2 p.m., governments are forced to respond. The White House holds an emergency press briefing. The president's science advisor confirms that an anomalous signal of potential extraterrestrial origin is being investigated. It's not a full confirmation, but it's enough. The world now knows that something has been detected, and everything changes. What happens when 7 billion people learn they're not alone in the universe? The answer is everything. All at once. In New York, the stock market goes haywire. Within the first hour of trading after the announcement, the Dow drops 800 points, then rebounds 500 as tech stocks surge. Nobody knows if this is good or bad for the economy. Algorithms are confused. Traders are panicking. In Vatican City, the Pope calls an emergency council. The Catholic Church is actually prepared for this scenario. In 2008, the Vatican's chief astronomer stated that belief in extraterrestrial life doesn't contradict faith in God. But now that it's real, millions of believers are struggling to reconcile the news with their worldview. In some cities, celebrations break out. People flood into the streets, cheering, looking up at the sky. "We're not alone," becomes a rallying cry. The dream of science fiction is suddenly science fact. But in other places, fear takes hold. Gun sales spike in the United States. In Japan, emergency shelters report increased inquiries. In some regions, apocalyptic cults declare this the beginning of the end. Social media becomes a battleground between wonder and terror. And through it all, one question dominates every conversation, every newscast, every dinner table around the world. What does the message say? Because so far, all we know is that it exists. We haven't decoded it yet. While the world argues, scientists are working. The prime number sequence was just the beginning, what mathematicians call a calling card. A way of saying, this is deliberate. This is intelligent. Pay attention. But beneath the prime numbers, There's more data, layers of information encoded in the signal, and teams around the world are racing to decode it. The first breakthrough comes at hour 19. A team at MIT realizes the signal contains binary data, ones and zeros, arranged in a specific pattern. When converted to a grid, the data forms an image. It's crude, pixelated, like the earliest digital photographs. But it's unmistakable. A star map, showing our sun, our solar system, Earth, with a single indicator pointing at us. The senders know where we are. They've been watching us, and now they want us to know it. By hour 21, more data is decoded, numbers that appear to be coordinates, mathematical constants, and something that looks like it might be a biological diagram, possibly a representation of the senders themselves. But one element of the message remains unclear. A repeating sequence at the end that doesn't match any pattern the teams have seen. It might be a greeting, it might be instructions, or it might be something else entirely. Now humanity faces its biggest decision. Should we respond? The signal came from Proxima Centauri, 4.2 light-years away. Any reply we send would take 4.2 years to arrive, and their response, if they send one, would take another 4.2 years to reach us. But that's not the real concern. The real concern is, what if responding is a mistake? Remember the dark forest theory we discussed in a previous video? The idea that the universe might be full of civilizations hiding from each other because revealing your location could attract a predator capable of destroying you? Some scientists argue that we should stay silent. We've already been detected, clearly. But responding might escalate things, might reveal more about us than we want to share, might provoke a reaction we can't handle. Others argue the opposite. The senders already know we exist. They sent a star map with Earth highlighted. Staying silent won't hide us. It will only make us seem afraid, or hostile, or too primitive to understand. If this is a test, silence might be the wrong answer. And besides, can humanity really agree to stay quiet? Someone, somewhere, will respond. A rogue nation, a billionaire with a radio transmitter, a lone scientist who thinks they know best. Coordination might be impossible. By hour 23, an emergency session of the UN Security Council is underway. But there's no agreement. Russia and China want to respond immediately. The United States urges caution. European nations are divided. Smaller countries feel excluded from a decision that affects all of humanity. And meanwhile, the decoded message still has that unknown sequence at the end, the part no one can figure out. Until hour 24. At hour 24, a breakthrough. A linguist working with the MIT team realizes something. The unknown sequence at the end of the message isn't data. It's not coordinates or biology or mathematics. It's a timestamp. Specifically, it's a countdown. When they convert the sequence using the mathematical constants from earlier in the message, the meaning becomes clear. The senders aren't just announcing their existence. They're telling us when they'll arrive. The countdown converts to approximately 27 years. Something is coming to Earth. And now we know exactly when. Suddenly, every debate shifts. This isn't a passive signal from a distant civilization. This is an announcement, a warning, or perhaps an invitation. In 27 years, something from Proxima Centauri will reach our solar system. A probe? A ship? An armada? We don't know. But we have 27 years to prepare, or 27 years to hide, or 27 years to destroy ourselves arguing about what to do. If this scenario played out tomorrow, we would face questions that have no easy answers. Who speaks for Earth? There's no global government, no elected representative of humanity. Would it be the UN, the United States, a council of scientists, a random person with a radio transmitter? What do we say? Do we send our art, our music, our history? Or do we send information that could be used against us? Our population centers, our military capabilities, our weaknesses. How do we prepare? If something is coming in 27 years, Do we build weapons, defenses, welcome banners? Do we try to hide? Is hiding even possible? And perhaps the most important question of all, can humanity unite in the face of the unknown? Or would this be the thing that finally tears us apart?